You're live.
Good morning, everybody. This is the meeting of the Licensing 2003 Act Subcommittee, London Borough of Newham, and to ensure continued public safety around the coronavirus 19, we're advising members of the public that this meeting will be webcast live, and thanks for joining us, and will continue to be available after the meeting on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/LB Newham in the video section of the London Borough of Newham YouTube site. Although all government restrictions relating to meetings held in public have been removed, the provisions of the Licensing Act 2003, of which this is an administrative hearing under its purview, they can continue to take place remotely. So thanks for joining us. If you wish to follow the agenda that we have, that's to be found in the relevant section of the Your Council section of the London Borough of Newham website. So the first item on the agenda is declaration of interest as outlined on agenda pack pages 3 and 4. In accordance with the members code, members is a reference to the elected members of the council, in other words, the councillors on the committee, and there are 3 of us today. In accordance with that members code of conduct, this is the time for members to declare any disclosable pecuniary interest or non-pecuniary interest they may have in any matter being considered at this meeting, having regard to the guidance attached to the agenda. I will start and say I have no interest to declare. Councillor Rivers?
No interest. Thank you, Chair.
And Councillor Bourne? Councillor Bourne, you need to come off mute.
You're quite right. Not interested to declare. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 2 is the outline of the procedures. Number 1 is introductions, and we'll do that in a minute. We then move to presentations, and we have a licensing officer who will present that. Members can seek clarification, and so can you as the applicant of any matters, but that's on the officer's report. We then move to the relevant representations. They are from the responsible authorities. They are people like the police, trading standards, the fire service, environmental health, presenting their case. Now we have 3 representations. During that time, members may ask questions, and so can the applicant. And then the license holder presents their case. And I think I'll pause at that point, otherwise it's too much to absorb. But basically, that's how we're going to do it from now on. So I am Neil Wilson. I'm one of the councillors for Plaistow South Ward, Chair of Licensing, and I'll be chairing this meeting throughout. Councillor Ruiz, please.
Good morning, Councillor Sarah Ruiz, and I represent Custom House Ward.
Thank you. And Councillor Vaughan.
Councillor Winston Vaughan, representing Forestgate South Ward.
Thank you. And the presenting officer today, please.
Colin Hunt, London Borough of Newham. I'm the case officer for today.
Thank you. And the relevant representations we have, firstly, I think from the Metropolitan Police.
Good morning, everyone. Connell Stoke, Metropolitan Police Licensing.
And then we have Commercial Environmental Health, please, Ian.
Good morning, Ian McConnell, Commercial Environmental Health.
And then we have from the boroughs, the council's licensing team, please.
Morning, John Chisley, licensing officer for London Borough of Newham.
Thank you. And we have the applicant, please.
Asif Khan.
Thank you. And Zaina.
The name on Zoom was actually my daughter's name, so my name is Sophia.
Sorry. Thank you. And you're the applicant and partner. And as this is an administrative hearing to be held under the aegis of the 2003 Act, we are not trained lawyers, so we rely heavily for legal advice from our legal department. Today, please, represented by.
Good morning, Umar Malik Legal Services.
And last but not least, because we make our decision based on things written and oral, in other words, what's said during this hearing, and we have a clerk taking copious notes behind the scene off camera. Nisha, please.
Thank you, Chair. Nisha Lathigua, Democratic Services.
Is everybody clear with everybody who is, or who isn't here, or who is here, sorry, slightly bizarre. And we're now then on agenda item 3, and it relates to the main case of the agenda, Carnes Burgers, case 7 ex sequendum. Colin, to introduce, please.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, just to let you know, I'm having a slight technical issues. I sometimes can't hear, it keeps freezing. So
Right.
pause
Yeah,
me
I had
if you can't hear everything I'm
Yeah,
saying.
thanks very much. Yeah, I had that the other day. I don't know what it does on
Yeah.
these computers.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Members of the licensing subcommittee. Sorry, members of the licensing subcommittee are asked to hear and determine an application to the grant of a new premises license for Carnes Burgers, 56 Queen's Market, Green Street, E13, and the applicant is Asif Khan, and any valid representations that have been made. An application for a new premises license was received by the licensing authority on the 28th of October 2021. This was advertised at the premises and in the local newspaper in accordance with the regulations, and a copy of the application is attached to Appendix A, pages 11 to 26. The application is for the following licensable activities: late night refreshments, Monday to Sunday, 2300 hours to 0400 hours the following day. This is in accordance with the blue notice, as there was a mistake on the application, and we had to confirm the times. So that was all sorted, and the opening times are from 11 till 0400 hours the following day. The Metropolitan Police licensing team has made representation against the application on the licensing objective of prevention of crime and disorder and the prevention of public nuisance and the protection of children from harm, and a copy of their letter is attached to Appendix B, page 27. The Council's Environmental Health team has made representation against the application on the licence and objectives of prevention of public nuisance, and a copy of their letter is attached to Appendix C, page 29. The Council licensing team, in its capacity as a responsible authority, has made representation against the application on the licence and objective of prevention of public nuisance and crime disorder, and a copy of their letter and supporting documents are attached to Appendix D, pages 31. Where the premises lie within the community of impact zone, there is a rebuttable presumption that an application for a new premises licence or club certificate or variation in respect of such premises would normally be refused, unless the applicant can demonstrate in their operating schedule that there will be no negative impact on one or more licensing objectives. At the hearing, members of the subcommittee would need to be satisfied that the applicant has demonstrated this. The community impact of the premises can only be considered where relevant representations are made. This means that if there are no relevant representations, the application must be granted, even if it falls within the CIZ. Members of the subcommittee should note that each application within the CIZ needs to be considered on its own merit, and a blanket refusal cannot be made. Where the licensing authority decides to impose conditions on the licence, whether in the CIZ or not, conditions must be appropriate and proportionate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. Conditions should be clear and unequivocal. The Secretary of State has issued guidance to the licensing authority, which they must have regards in carrying out their licensing functions. Members of the subcommittee should know that copies of the guidance are available at the meeting of the subcommittee. Alternatively, copies can be obtained directly from the committee clerk. Licensing authority may only depart from the guidance if they have good reason to do so. This premises does fall within the CIZ, and a map of the CIZ is attached to Appendix E, pages 37. This premises has not had the benefit of a premises licence in the past, and a plan of the area is attached to Appendix F, page 39. The members of the licensing subcommittee asked to hear the application, the representations of licence holder, and any valid representations received from responsible authorities, and determine the application. And that concludes the report.
Thank you very much, Colin. And I think we could hear everything. I hope we can, everybody. Please interrupt me by just putting your hand up. I know there's a hand in the technical thing, but I'd rather we just stop if we can't hear, because we do need to hear everything. Colin, would you mind displaying the CIZ, oh, I've got kind of mistakes this morning, CIZ map, that one that pertains to, or the location? Should we start with the location first and then go on to the CIZ map? Are you able to square screen, Colin, please?
Yeah, just a sec. Sorry, my apologies. Can everyone see that?
Not at the moment. Oh, there we are. There we go.
Yep. Right. So this is Queen's Market. See where my cursor is? There's Queen's Market, and this is Green Street going down there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
all the members know, and obviously the applicant knows, but as it's a public meeting, we try to be as open as possible where we're located within the borough. So this is Queen's Market, Cheap by Joe to Upton Park, and basically the Upton Park tube station. Colin, can we have the CIZ map? Is that all right? Or do you have any visuals? Yeah,
Oh,
there we are.
sorry,
Yeah.
my apologies. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
It's gone off. Hang on a sec. Just give me a sec.
So we're slap bang in the middle of the CIZ. The purple area is the CIZ. Yeah.
Sorry, it just went off. Sorry.
No, yeah, you're fine. No panics.
No. My apologies for this.
No, don't worry. If it's in the and I don't think it's contestable. It's completely within a CIZ, a community of impact zone. Just if you are able to, don't worry.
Yeah, it's just here.
Yeah. Yeah. Shall we move on, members? Is that okay, everybody? Yeah. Rather than
So
that's the street view. Yes. Now.
yeah, that's the street view. Sorry, I just take a bit of time.
Yeah.
So I can't get into there on the street view,
No,
but
no,
that's the
fine.
Queen's
That is
Market
Queen's
and
Market. Yeah.
the premises down. The premises is down there, and it's on the left-hand side. About I don't know, about 5 shops down, 5 or 6 shops down, I think, on the left-hand side of Queen's Market, and that's the tube station up there. And that, if you go down that way, that goes down to Barking Road, and the pub is the Queen's.
Is that okay, everybody? Yep. Thanks, Colin. Thanks for your persistence on that. Thank you. Umair, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chair, just a matter of clarification on page 16 for Colin, on page 16, where it says late night refreshment in the application form. I think the applicants ticked no, but of course we know he's here for a late night refreshment application. Could Colin just confirm that the blue notice, I know they had to revisit it, but it was clearly advertised for a late night refreshment application?
Yeah, that's the newspaper ad and the blue notice, just to show everybody that provision of late night refreshments. Can everyone see this?
No,
No, can you take that off the screen, Colin? The map, the Google thing. We're looking still at a
Sorry,
Google thing. You're having some technical difficulties today.
Can everybody see this?
No, all we're seeing is a Google Street View.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
At the moment, we're seeing Queen's Market.
I'll stop sharing that again.
Yeah, don't worry. Rather than delaying things, is it that the blue notice and the advert in the newspaper as requested under the Act were in accordance with it was a late night refreshment? Here we go. That's the newspaper one.
Yeah, that's the newspaper, and the blue notice is exactly the same. So if you can
Exactly.
see the hours there, provision of late night refreshments, Monday to Sunday, 23 to following day, and it was amended on the application, and it was sent out as well. So we were happy with that.
Right.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Mo, for that clarification. Now, is there any other further points of clarification that anybody wishes to draw to our attention at this point? Sarah, do you have anything?
no, thank you, Chair.
And Winston?
No, nothing from me, sir.
Right, shall we make progress then and have the first representation, which is from the Metropolitan Police licensing team, today represented by Connell Stoke. Connell, please.
Thank you, Chair. On behalf of the Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police, I wish to object to an application for a new premises licence for Khan's Burgers, 56 Queen's Market, Green Street, E13 9BA, on the grounds of the prevention of crime and disorder, the prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. You've heard the hours and for licensable activities and the opening hours. The premises are situated within a cumulative impact zone as designated in the Newham Council Licensing Policy 2020. That states there is a requirement for the applicant to comprehensively demonstrate there will be no additional negative impact on the vicinity in terms of the 4 licensing objectives if the license is granted. This is usually done through the applicant submitting a comprehensive and robust set of conditions. Sorry, Chair. In the operating schedule. In section 18 of the operating schedule, the applicant, who to be fair has completed the form on his own without the assistance of an agent or solicitor, has not provided any information to assist police to assess his knowledge and understanding of the licensing objectives. In paragraph B of section 18, he states that we will only be doing deliveries from the premises. Therefore, we will have no customers inside the shop. The purpose of the shop opening will be to run Just Eat and Uber machines, but doesn't explain how he will prevent members of the public from entering the premises. In paragraph D, he states that we only have a takeaway service and use our own staff as delivery drivers. That seems to contradict the previous paragraph where he mentions Just Eat and Uber. Although he does show some awareness of the potential problems of operating a late night venue when he states that we will also maintain a strict policy that any loud or threatening behaviour will not be tolerated either inside or around the shop. However, the second part of that sentence seems to contradict the first part. If he is only doing deliveries, why should customers come into the premises? Also, he doesn't explain what action his staff will be trained to take to deal with loud or threatening behaviour. In paragraph D of section 18, he states that children should always be with a responsible adult when inside or around the premises. But that again doesn't say what action staff will be trained to take if an unaccompanied young person or one who they thought may be vulnerable was loitering around the premises. The section 182 guidance to the Licensing Acts 2003 relates to late night refreshment being regulated primarily because it is often linked to alcohol-fueled crime in the nighttime economy, such as fast food restaurants and takeaways where late drinkers tend to congregate. This premises has the Queen's Public House in very close proximity. The crime statistics that are specific to within a quarter of a mile radius of the premises postcode actually, Chair, I apologise. I don't think they were submitted.
Yes, we do have them, Connell. Sorry.
Oh, do you? Oh.
I've got statistics in the paragraph beginning. The statistics for instances of antisocial behaviour reported to police were 34 in June,
yeah,
25 in July, 34 in August, 33 in September. Do you have an update? Sometimes you have an addendum.
Yes. October's figure was 22 and November's figure was 14. So it is a welcome reduction in those.
Nothing after November.
No, November.
They're on a 3-monthly cycle. Yes, yeah, they're not released yet. And then we've got the next paragraph for violence. Yes.
Yeah, the statistics for incidents of violence reported to police are 24 in June, 22 in July, 19 in August, 21 in September, 27 in October, and 25 in November. I did visit the area a week ago today, and there were signs of street drinkers in the area and some debris that they've obviously discarded. Safeguarding officers have warned that predatory adults and gangs sometimes target young people using late night refreshment venues for the purpose of sexual exploitation and harm or recruitment into gangs. Police would expect the premises licence holders to have a basic safeguarding policy in place and to train their staff both at induction and through the refresher training to identify vulnerable children and young women and set out what action they should take regarding any young person who is loitering around the premises and whom they consider may be vulnerable. Therefore, police would like the applicants to attend the licensing subcommittee hearings to demonstrate that he is aware of why the area has been designated as a CIZ, that he understands why appropriate conditions are necessary to promote the 4 licensing objectives, and that there will be no additional negative impact on the vicinity in terms of the 4 licensing objectives. Chair, if I may add, there has been some belated speaking with the applicant, I understand that the plan is actually that shows the door and the counter. I've been told that that will not operate after 11 p.m. and that sales will be made from a window at the front of the premises. I think the more information there from the applicant, and that they do use Uber and Just Eats, and that they will be collecting from the window, but I'm assured that they won't be hanging around outside, that they will only be told to attend the premises when their order is ready, to reduce the amount of potential for noise nuisance, public nuisance. Thank you, Chair, that's all.
Can I ask when was that a conversation? Was that an email? This application was submitted in October. We're still dealing with the backlog. So
yeah, it was last week.
The 28th of October.
Yeah, it was last week, and it was just a telephone conversation.
Thank you very much. In terms of your visit, when was the visit made?
At lunchtime last Tuesday.
So 20-something of January.
Yeah, 25th, I think.
Right.
And there were street drinkers.
Yep.
Not they were more to the entrance of the market, just
Yep.
inside the entrance. So they weren't actually very near this premises, but they were around, and there was also discarded cans and bottles.
Well, it has been notorious for street drinking in the 40 years that I've lived quite near to it and gone past it. So these statistics, they refer to antisocial behaviour reported to the police, and we're very clear today that, you know, the Section 182 guidance relates to late night refreshment in association with alcohol fueled crime, and ASB and violence is often alcohol fueled. These figures you said had a reduction, but it's still averaging one a month, correct? From this November, that might be a one-off, we don't know.
Yeah, prior to that, yes, more or less one a month.
And
slightly less than one a month, yeah.
And that is higher than even the Newham averages, is that correct or not?
Yes,
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
I would say it's fairly high for Newham, yes.
Yeah, not as high as Stratford, but that's got special circumstances behind that sort of economy.
Yes, Chair.
And in your experience in licensing, we'll obviously explore with the applicant about Uber Eats and takeaway service. The last one, and then I'll hand over to colleagues. Was there, when you had this discussion, was that following your visit then?
Yes, Chair, it was, yes.
Councillor Ruiz, do you wish to come in to ask Connell any questions at this point?
Not at this point, thank you, Chair.
Councillor Vaughan?
Not at this point, Chair, thank you.
And the applicant or their partner, anything? You can ask questions at this point. You need to come off mute and tell me whether you need to ask questions.
No questions need to be asked at the moment.
Thank you, that's fine. Appendix C, we're now moving on to page 29 at Sequendum, and this is from Ian, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, commercial. I always get it wrong. Commercial environmental health. Sorry.
Chair. Commercial environmental health team is making a representation in respect to this application in relation to the licensing objectives of prevention of public nuisance. The premises lies in one of the council's designated cumulative impact zones, as detailed in the licensing policy of March 2020. As such, there is a requirement to comprehensively demonstrate that there will be no additional impact on the local area in terms of the four licensing objectives. Premises are situated on the south side of Queen's Market. Nearest residential premises is Hamara Gar, a retirement housing complex, which is directly south of the premises. The applicant is seeking a premises license for late night refreshment daily until 5 a.m. as a delivery service only. Section 14 of the application form, late night refreshment, has not been completed. However, section 17, the hours the premises open to the public has been completed, advising the premises will be open to the public until 4 a.m. every day. The applicant proposes to prevent public nuisance by not allowing customers in the premises after 10 p.m. and operating a delivery service after that, having a strict policy of not tolerating any loud or threatening behaviour and using their own staff for deliveries. The applicant has not proposed any measures to prevent noise and nuisance from deliveries, such as limiting the number of delivery drivers, having them wait inside the premises, or only using electric vehicles after 11 p.m. The application has also not provided any information to satisfy us that noise and odours from the extract system will not cause a nuisance to residents of Hamara Gar, and that's our representation, Chair.
Can you hear me? Sorry, I was on mute.
Yes. Yeah.
Is it your contention that you stand by page 30 of your ultimate paragraph that you're not satisfied that the applicant has well, can't say my words today, comprehensively demonstrated that there will be no additional impact?
Yes, that's correct, Chair.
In terms of the full licensing objective. Have you visited this premises recently?
Not recently. I did visit it before I made my representation. On a couple of occasions, it was closed on both occasions.
And have you had experience of other operatives causing nuisance for the residents in for a retirement complex that's at Hamara Gar?
I've not had any complaints in relation to other premises.
No.
From the residents of Hamara Gar, no.
No, but it is a residential elderly home which is semi-supported living, and it's right above the market, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And I know the one I was going to ask. In your experience, do these this is listed as a burger bar, basically, or burger outlet. Noise and odours from extract systems, are they quite loud?
Well, I don't know how loud this is. We haven't had any complaints about it in the past. I believe it has been a takeaway in the past, so it may not be particularly loud, but obviously 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning is very different to 10 o'clock in the evening.
Because sound carries
the background noise level goes down, so that it may be more noticeable. Places that are doing burgers and fries and things, there's a lot of grease that can be in the extract system, and if they don't have good filtration and they're not maintaining that well, that can cause an odor nuisance to local residents.
Thank you very much. Councillor Ruiz, anything to environmental health?
Yeah, just a very quick question, and it may not be relevant for Ian, so apologise in advance. But where the premises is located, how would the delivery driver, would they have to park on Upton on the main
Green Street?
Green Street, thank you. Would they have to park on Green Street and then walk into the burger place, or would they drive? I mean, I just am wondering how the vehicle will get there.
I'm not sure.
A car or a bike or whatever.
Yeah, I imagine if it's bikes, they may take them in there.
Okay.
But if it's cars, they're either going to stop out the front or perhaps around the side. But I imagine
or at the back.
I imagine the applicant can provide more information on that.
I can see the applicant is raising hands. Sorry, this is questions to Ian. You can come in when it's your turn, please. Sorry. We need to be quite strict on order. I'm not preventing you from answering that, but just remember that question will be coming up. Ian, in your experience, has these, it's a growth industry, Uber, Just Eat, have they employed electric vehicles in their fleets? you mentioned reference on the last paragraph on page 29 of the manual to electric vehicles are operative after.
I think there's certainly a lot of electric bicycles around. I don't know what they're going to use, because they did mention that they're going to use their own staff for deliveries.
Which will also need to be clarified, yes, whether it's Uber Eats or Just Eats or whoever eats or whoever they're called. You know, I can't keep up with these modern developments. What is it called? Fast food living or something. But yes, but electric vehicles, and we've already established what the route of these electric vehicles and the smells and the noise. The last one I want to ask you is, if it, you know, is it your contention that they are that it's confusing, because we're confused, I think, having read these papers, whether they're using their own staff for deliveries or Uber Eats, whether they're on their electric vehicles or not?
Yes, it is confusing. Yeah.
Okay, and you stand by the contention that you're not satisfied that they've comprehensively demonstrated no additional impact in terms of demonstrating to us a rebuttal under the community impact zone?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Councillor Vaughan, you've been very patient with me as always. Do you have anything to interject at this point?
I think one has to be patient with you, Chair. Right, my question is based along the same lines as Councillor Ruiz's question. In terms of the geography, now the entrance to the Hamaragara building, I think, is actually pointing east, right? Now the actually takeaway is actually in the market itself. So in terms of the geography, would any activity taking place in the takeaway affect the entrance, people going into the front of the building on Green Street?
Yeah, possibly not. No. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, and it is covered with the roof, but the extract system, presumably it comes above that roof, so noise from that could affect the residents. Now I think looking at the street view, there is only one set of windows on that side of the building, which is presumably a staircase, I would imagine, but obviously it could affect the rear and the front openable windows, particularly noise and odors could affect those. And in terms of sort of noise from delivery drivers, if they're out the back or out the front, potentially could be noise coming from those, particularly when it's very, very quiet in the early hours of the morning, you know, 3 or 4 in the morning. Any noise could potentially cause a nuisance to the residents.
Yeah, okay, thank you for that. Thank you.
Have commercial environmental health having had investigations to anywhere else in Queen's Market in recent times?
No, we haven't had any complaints about other premises.
And just my last question in term before we move on is in terms of what Councillor Vaughan was saying, in your professional experience, if people do go to late night refreshment with alcohol fueled things, is the complaint often about the noise as well as more than you know, odors and smells from residents? It's more about the noise and congregation of people who are, shall we say, tanked up in the colloquial phrase.
Yes, yes, yeah, we do get complaints about noise from customers.
Yep. Okay, are we all right to move on, Councillor Vaughan and Councillor Rose?
Yeah.
From our
Yes.
Anything from the applicant at this point? Questions, remember, at this stage. Any questions? No. You need to come off mute. Sorry, because we're, you know, it'll be the same.
No questions.
No questions. Thanks very much for your patience.
Yeah. Sorry, right. Can I come back? Sorry.
Yes, sorry, that's fine. Yes, we can come in at any time. It's our meeting. So, Councillor Vaughan.
Yeah. Again, we've talked about electric vehicles to do the transporting of the food. Now, all the vehicles, are they all electric? And are they all, well, if they're electric, they will be quiet. Are there any other vehicles used for the purpose of delivery is motorized?
Oh, I don't know. The applicant would have to provide that information. It's not on the application.
Hold that thought, Councillor Vaughan.
Sorry?
Hold that thought.
You read my intention precisely.
Yeah, okay.
So I think the applicant and their partner are making notes of what these questions might be. So thanks very much. So shall we move to the next representation? Is that all right, everybody? So the last one is from the licensing team, please. And I think it's John Chislett awaiting in the wing. Page 35 at Sequendal.
No, 31.
Sorry, absolutely right. Page 31. I'm glad I've got a team that's very alert today. It's quite, the chair is being very remiss with his pagination. Page 31 at Sequendum. John Chislett, please.
Thank you, Chair. The council's licensing team.
Sorry, John, you need to go up in volume. You're very soft there.
I do apologise. The
That's better.
council's licensing team, as a responsible authority, would like to make representation against the application for a grant of a new premises licence for Carnes Burgers at 56 Queen's Market on the grounds of prevention of crime disorder and the prevention of public nuisance. The application lies within one of the council's community of impact zones, and the licensing policy states where relevant representations are received against new applications for the grant of a premises licence, which indicates the application is likely to add to the existing community of impact, there will be a rebuttable presumption under the special policy that the application will be refused or subject to certain limitations. Each case will be decided on its own merits, but applicants will have to demonstrate in their application that this will not add to existing problems in the area, and there will be no negative community of impact on one or more of the licensing objectives. And the special policy will apply to the licensable activities of the provision of late night refreshment. There are currently 3 licensed premises near this application for the provision of late night refreshments. They are located at 377 Green Street, Papa Chicken, with permitted hours of 11 PM till 1 AM Sunday to Wednesday, till 2 AM on a Thursday and 4 AM on a Friday and Saturday. 357 Green Street, KFC, has permitted hours Monday to Sunday, 11 PM till 1 AM. And 395 Green Street, where the licence is currently suspended for non-payment of the annual fee from 2017 to date. It would appear from looking at the application that the applicant is not aware that the premises lies within a community of impact zone, and have not looked at the council's licensing policy 2020 to 2025 with the appendix of model conditions. Under the heading of the prevention of crime disorder, the applicant has stated that we will only be doing deliveries from the premises and therefore have no customers inside the shop. The purpose of the shop opening will be to run a Just Eat and Uber machines. Under the heading of public safety, the applicant has stated not allowing customers inside the premises after 10 PM. And on their Just Eat website, it's advertised that deliveries are Monday to Wednesday until 1 AM, 1:30 AM Thursday to Sunday, with collection until 2:30 AM. On the Uber Eats website, their advertising has been open until 4:45 in the morning. Furthermore, on Monday the 8th of November last year, I was in the area and noticed the store was open and trading. I called their number and was advised by an employee that they were open for collections until 2:30 AM in the morning with no licence in place. Therefore, the licensing authority would like the applicant to come before the licensing committee to explain why they've been and still trading after 11 PM without a valid premises licence, and to rebut the CIZ presumption for refusal. And that concludes my letter of representation.
On page 35 of the bundle, there is a letter that's in the name, your name, John. That was a letter that was sent to the applicant.
That's correct.
November, which
Yes.
highlights that you were outside the venue where the premises was open, or, you know, and a call was informed by one of your employees that you were open under 2:30 AM, and it makes reference to the information you've already provided this committee about the internet searches. So those internet searches, the ones that are listed in the page 33 of our bundle.
That's correct.
That's from
Yes.
Just uber-eat.co.uk. Yep.
Yep.
So it states there 1:30 on a Thursday for some reason. I've got, and then does it go on anymore? I don't know.
Yes, unfortunately, when I've done the screenshots, I couldn't get the rest of the the details on that.
But it does go on. It does say what was saying on the Uber one. It was going to be open till 4:45 in the morning.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
And
What days?
I have gone on there again this morning, and on the Just Eat's website, it's saying for delivery that they are open till 1 a.m. Thursday through to Tuesday, and that they're closed on a Wednesday. And for collection, they've amended the times to 11 o'clock. On the Uber Eats website, it's saying that they are now open every day until midnight.
Is Uber Eats the one that's on page 34?
That's correct.
So they've been altered.
They have been altered, but even altering it till midnight, they're still trading for an hour and a half without valid authorization.
Because under the Licensing Act of 2003, it is only till 11 o'clock.
That's correct. And under the Act, the licensable activity of providing late night refreshments is from 11 p.m. until 5 a.m. the day following. Outside of those times, a license isn't required.
Yep. Councillor Lewis, questions, please? Any?
No question to John. Thank you.
Councillor Vaughan?
Forgive me on this one. I have a note here which states the license is from 11 to 5. Why have I got that there, John? Because I can't find it in the text. Is there any part of the application where it mentions opening hours from 11 to 5?
I don't think so. I mean, Umar has just clarified earlier on about the provision of late night refreshment not being marked down. And the only times that are stated in the application form is on page 17 of the agenda, which shows the premises opening to the public Monday to Sunday from 12 midday till 4 a.m. the day following.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that, but I have a note here and I can't understand why.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
If I could be helpful, Chair,
Thank you.
I think there is in Connor's report, it does state the applicant wishes to sell late night refreshment off sales only between 11 and 5. So that may be an error on that.
That's probably where you've seen it. Yeah, thanks for that. I think that's
Thanks very much. Yeah, there was a bit of confusion. Now,
yeah.
There was one more. Sorry, and I was trying to. This letter, has there been an acknowledgement of its contents to the letter from page 35?
I've had no communication from the applicant in regards to the letter dated 11th of November, nor the letter of representation.
So, and is it still your contention that you are not satisfied that the application has, explained to you why they've been and still trading after 11 without a valid premises license?
No, there's nothing.
They've not come with anything to rebut the CIZ or any negotiations? No.
Nothing at all, no.
Thank you very much. Okay, now we've reached the point, I think, Umar, is that, in accordance with what you'd steer this committee towards to the next section for the applicant and for them to present their case?
Yes,
Yep.
Chair.
Is that all right, Councillor Ruiz and Councillor Vaughan, if we make progress on
Indeed.
the applicant? So can the applicant or their partner, you've got a choice, present your case, please, but be prepared of questions that have already arisen from this hearing. Over to
you. So in regards to the Metropolitan Police, I've spoken myself a few times and sort of, I think we had I thought we had a sort of explained our position in terms of how we will deal with news nuisance, and we actually haven't been able to yet provide, but have in the shop a video, a window built in that allows drivers to not, it's a sliding window, which allows drivers to collect their food and leave the premises, and the doors are locked. So there's nobody entering the premises after 11 o'clock. And from 11 onwards, the drivers would then be able to just pick the food up through the window.
Or the public.
Yeah, the drivers or the public would be able to pick the food up through the window and then leave. So there's no hanging around or waiting outside the shop. The drivers only get called to the shop once their order is ready for collection. That's both for drivers and for the customer. We always give our orders out on at the right time. So there's nobody waiting around in the market for their food.
And about driving, you're saying about the driving in, where they were going to park the car.
Oh, and Queen's Market allows cars to come into the market. There's access to the market. There's no parking on the main road. There's no need for anybody to park on the main road. They can just come into the Queen's Market. And not only that, but majority of the drivers have bicycles or electric bikes. So 80 to 90% of our delivery drivers only use electric bikes. We very rarely have drivers that use their personal vehicles or vehicles in general, because for them it's not economical, and it's just easier for them to use a bike. So yeah, that was in regards to the Metropolitan Police one. And Hamara Ghar, I find it strange because the location of Hamara Ghar to the shop is actually at quite a distance. It's not close enough to cause anything happening inside the shop to cause any kind of a disturbance to Hamara Ghar. Our extractor does not make any noise whatsoever.
Every 6 months.
Yeah, it makes no noise. It gets serviced regularly. Our cleaning schedule, like for the filtering and everything, is very good. So we've never ever heard or had any complaints from anybody about any noise coming from the shop.
And majority of them come to our shop.
And yeah, and we actually have regular customers from Hamara Ghar. So we actually provide and we even provide free refreshments and hot drinks for the elderly people at Hamara Ghar. And they can, yeah, that, and we've been doing that for years, basically, like since we've opened. So yeah, that's it really. In regards to John, I believe, who mentioned about the hours, technically, we've had technical issues. Like, we both are dyslexic, so we struggle to communicate properly, hence why we've had issues on the license. We struggle to speak English. We both suffer from anxiety. So all these issues have now sort of affected, and you can see from the moment that we submitted the application that we were struggling to submit that application, and hence why there were so many mistakes, is because I am dyslexic and my husband is also dyslexic. So because of that reason, we've had these errors. And that's all I can really say. There was questions about the Just Eat drivers and the Uber drivers. A lot of the deliveries are done by my husband himself, or the Uber drivers will send their drivers. We've never had any complaints from anybody. We have never had any issues outside. There's never been police called outside our shop for anything. I think the issues in the market are coming from other places, definitely not a halal. We have literally a Muslim-owned halal food shop who are only providing you with hot drinks and hot food and burgers and chips. We've got the Queen's Pub there. We've got so many other issues within the Queen's Market that I'm sure everybody in Newham is aware of. which has got nothing to
And
do
the pub's
with,
open till 3, 4 in the morning.
we've got nothing to do with any of those things that are happening. I've walked through Queen's Market at 3 o'clock in the afternoon with my children and had people shooting up heroin in their arm in front of everybody. And that's got, those are the issues within Queen's Market. I do believe that Khan's Burgers providing burgers and hot drinks until late night will hardly cause any problems in the market.
And if anything, all this time they've cut down now. They're not coming in as how they used to. Because we're open.
Sorry, I need to interrupt. There is somebody at my doorbell again. This is happening far too often in licensing, but I do need to answer it. This is the trouble from working from home, as I said the other day. Please.
Okay.
I do apologise. I had a parcel arrive. It keeps coming at this time. They must know that we're on licensing at 10 onwards. Sorry, that was right in the middle of your exposition. And I, you know, as I say, we've got 3 experienced councillors here who do know about the problems of Queen's Market. So we're talking about your premises. You were saying about, you know, drug use and drug abuse within the environs of Queen's Market. Can you carry on from there in case I missed anything?
No, the reason I brought that up was because of the nuisance issue that is being presented to us. I mean, Khan's Burgers has never had any complaints about noise or nuisance. And then hence why I'm slightly confused that the noise and nuisance within that area is coming from other places, as in the Queen's Pub. The bottles on the floor that would have been found, the street drinkers, we don't even, they're not our, that's not our clientele. Our clientele are people that are sitting at home ordering food to their house. Our clientele are not Queen's Market pub drinkers. We hardly serve Queen's Market pub drinkers, if anything. We're not the cuisine that they're looking for. We're a halal milkshake burger bar who you know, who actually have no seating area. We have no the distance between our front door and counter is also not very much, so there's very little space for too many people in the building. Majority of our staff are not English speaking, so it's not their first language. So in regards to the phone conversation that somebody may have had to one of the staff members, I can only say that was literally a misunderstanding, because like I said, they don't understand English properly. So there's obviously been some kind of a confusion there. Unfortunately, neither myself or my partner was there that day, so I don't know what's been said. I don't know what he understood. But yeah, that's all really I think I have to say, unless there's questions like that.
No, that's fine. We're not a question. So if you finish what you're going to say, perhaps it will help if you go into questions. And then
just one more thing. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how to email this across, because I'm not very good with the computer or the email, but I can show it to you like this. So I had a recording done. It probably won't be any use over the thing. I'll have to get somebody to send it, but can you close that curtain, please? So we have a door. So there's a door, there's a window. This is the Khan's Burger.
Right, we can see that's quite good. We can see it's a lockable shuttered window system. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. That's fine. Thank you. Yep. I thought you were going to show me something that, you know, I may have to interject if it was individuals and GDPR and things. It's not part of our bundle. Councillor Ruiz, you've gone dark. Can you hear us all right?
This is the distance between...
Sorry. I'm waiting for my colleague because we all have to hear everything. Councillor Ruiz, has she gone off screen? Can you tell me? I can't see her. Can anybody else see her on screen?
We haven't got a visual picture, but she's still showing on live and in attendance.
Councillor Ruiz, can you hear us? Sorry.
We've lost the connection now.
We've lost the connection. We need to pause because this is the trouble of doing things on remote. You see, if it was a town hall, we'd have an adjournment. I don't know how long this is going to last. One of my colleagues has gone off signal. Can we just pause? If it's too long, we'll have to declare an adjournment to re-establish connections.
Just trying to contact Councillor Ruiz for you.
For the benefit of the 6 people watching us on live, I can see that how many people are watching on my YouTube platform here. We are paused because the 3 councillors have to hear everything, and we've lost connection with Councillor Sarah Ruiz temporarily. So, what with the doorbell going and deliveries. Sorry about this, everybody, but this does happen. While this is happening, can I remind everybody, apart from myself, to be on mute, please? Sorry. I have a message on my phone from Councillor Ruiz that the internet just dropped out. She is trying to reconnect. Can everybody still hear me? You know, it may not be an LBN problem. It's sometimes the internet, clicks you out by some odd reasons. It doesn't matter. There's no rationale to it. So. I'll give it another few minutes, otherwise we'll adjourn temporarily. We're not adjourning for long, we'll just give it some adjournment time. Antonella, have you had any further messages?
Chair, I'm just on the phone to Councillor Ruiz for you. shouldn't be long now, Councillor Wilson.
Thank you. We're making progress, I understand, with internet connection. You know, we're getting there.
I'm back now, Neil.
They're back.
Yeah.
I don't think Councillor Wilson is aware of that. Can't hear him.
I can't hear him, no.
No.
Councillor Wilson, Councillor Ruse is back in the room. I think his sound has gone.
Yeah.
Angela, then perhaps give Councillor Wilson a call, just in case he can't hear us.
Will do, now.
I do apologise. I'm trying to reboot my computer and it's still trying to shut down.
Oh dear.
Um,
But at least we got you back. We haven't got
I
you.
know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Sign language.
It all went wrong when Councillor Wilson wanted to get him his parcel. That's what happened.
Yes. He's pulled the wire out.
Can you hear me, everybody?
Yes.
We're going to have to go back to real meetings. This is getting ridiculous. I can't hear it. It's no rhyme or reason. Councillor Lewis, can you hear me? And are you restored to your pristine glory there?
I can hear you loud and clear, Chair, but I am now on my iPad.
Yeah, I'm going to have to use my own computer myself, I think. I don't touch anything, and then I'm shouting at people, and they can't hear me. Now, what I was suggesting is we move to questions because issues have arisen. Can I kick off the questions and say, how long has this premises been within Queen's Market? How long have you operated? You need to come off mute. Sorry. You need to come off mute. How long have you been there?
Since 2019.
Since 2019. You
2019.
made a reference that you only sold meat products of halal, and therefore people would not necessarily be alcohol fueled, because by definition that would be not consistent with the cultural identity associated with halal food. This shop is open to the public during the day?
Yes.
And when would you lock up, as it were? When would you last have anybody inside or?
Is this, sorry, is this once we have the application or at the moment?
No, you don't assume anything. It's in our power as to whether you've got anything. What is the current position?
So we 10:30.
So people can sit in, can they? I don't even know, but we don't visit because it's not our job. What we're doing is going on the 4 licensing objectives and the community of impact zone. So 10:30 p.m. people can come to a counter.
We stop accepting orders at around 10:30. So that, but because on an average it takes 20 to 30 minutes for an order to be made and then for the collection to be arranged. And so because we put the shutters down at 11, we don't accept orders at 10:30, and then we will still serve any customers that have made their orders before that until 11, and then start the cleaning process and shut down the shutters.
You said that somebody employed by you was non-English speaking, and therefore they might be confused when they had an inquiry from the borough's licensing team. How many staff do you have?
We only have 2 at the moment, 2 to 3.
Well, is it 2 or is it 3? It can't be 2, 2, 3.
It's 3 staff, 4 including myself.
4 including yourself?
Yes, at the moment.
And can I ask, why would you want to be serving your own particular cuisine till 4 in the morning? Because why would you want to? I go past on a regular basis, and it seems fairly deserted apart from the Queen's Market and the fairly obvious footfall. What I'm at a loss, but then I'm learning all the time. Why would people demand? Sorry, I'm still talking. Why would you want to be serving food till 4 in the morning?
Because the demand for burgers, chips, milkshakes is extremely high. Like, people love having that delivered home.
At 4 in the morning.
Yeah, why not? I would order at 4 in the morning if it's a late night. I mean, and the reason why we said 4 is to give us the flexibility of even if we're closing up at 2, it just allows us. So for example, we have special like Eid, for example, or in Ramadan, and we have customers like the hours. It's just the reason we've said 4 is to give us that flexibility to be able to change it, to run promotions. For example, in Ramadan, we can open till 2 and serve the clientele that are looking to start their fast at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, so we can serve those customers. So we've tried to do it that way. It's not to say that we're going to be doing that every day. Does that make sense?
I'm slightly confused about who's doing the collection and who's doing delivery. In your opening remarks, you said that people could rock up to your shop. You said customers could arrive. And yet you're now saying to us, I think in some of the applications and submissions, you said if people turned up as well as drivers. Is it going to be open to the public to come to this counter, or is it just Uber Eats or whoever?
Just Uber Eats and Just Eat.
Because I think I did hear people from the general public. And my last question before I hand over to colleagues is that in terms of Queen's Market, you said
you're talking, I'm not talking.
In terms of Queen's Market, you said it allows parking. My experience is there's a lockable gate, which is the access route, which has to be obviously there for emergency services. There's a lockable system which allows parking for collection and deliveries to the market stall holders. But what would you envisage then? People could come with cars, because you said about allowing parking. I didn't get the reference to parking, quite frankly, because there's a gate that comes up under our market supervision staff.
There's a what? Sorry.
There's a gate which is lockable between Green Street and the entrance.
I don't think that gets locked, to be honest.
It's never locked.
It's not locked.
But But if it were to be locked, why would you know, this is all a bit, you know, off at a tangent, really. But I just was interested. Why would parking be an issue if people were, you were assuring this committee, were only going to be turning up once food was actually ready? Why would parking be an issue? Because presumably, if they're on these electrical vehicles that you said 90% of them would be arriving on, they just turn up to this counter, you unlock the window, and then they go away again. I don't know what the parking issue was. I was slightly confused.
I don't understand the question.
So, well, you brought it up. You see, you submitted to this committee that parking wouldn't be an issue. Now, I want to know why parking wouldn't be an issue. If people were turning up, you're now saying that it's only Uber Eats or Just Eat. So why would parking be relevant to our deliberations?
Right, because the Queen's Market gate is open, it allows people to actually drive through the market, stop, pick up the food, and then leave the market. The market is not locked. That's what I meant.
Yes.
Yeah, my husband's lived there for 35 years. We've never seen that market ever locked. So
that's for fire access purposes, I think. But then I'm still confused. If I turned up in my little Fiesta, which is only, you know, about I can walk from my house to the Queen's Market, but I'll take the car, and I'm rocking up at 3:30. Are you going to serve me food, whether I drive through these gates or not?
Yeah. If you come to my shop and you come to the counter, obviously we've got a sliding door. If you come and if you want to order food, you place your order with us. You go back to your car, we make your food, come back in 10 to 15 minutes. You take your order, you can drive off, no problem.
Right, I'm going to hand over to my colleagues. Councillor Lewis, would you like to take up some of these issues with we're finding here?
Okay. Yes, I would. So I may well have missed it when I dropped off, but I want to take us back. So I can understand that when John made a phone call, one of your staff whose English is not, he's not fluent in English, may have been confused, but I still don't understand how you were still serving at 11:30 or 11:20 when your license stops before.
Can we talk now?
Yeah.
That was we probably got caught misguided. We probably weren't looking at the time. If our shutters, because normally at 11 o'clock, bang on, we put our shutters halfway down. Only for like, obviously, because when Uber orders their, like Uber Eats customers order food, the drivers don't always come on time. Sometimes they do come late. And on specifically that day, they might have come late and we had their food holding there in our holding cabinet. That could be the only reason.
So you didn't respond to this letter at all then?
We haven't received no letter.
Like I said in the beginning of the meeting, because both my husband and I are dyslexic and we suffer from mental health issues, we find this stuff very, 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 very hard. We have two very young children, and hence why. And then I myself had COVID. My husband's had long COVID. We've had a lot happening, hence why we've just not been able to respond to actual documentation. Like you've sent this to me. I don't understand a single word. I mean, I've just got it here, but I'm not understanding anything that's in here, and neither does my husband understand properly.
Okay. And this is probably, I don't know whether I'm allowed to make a comment, but given all of those factors, would it not have been advisable to have employed an agent to have submitted and worked with you on this application?
In the end, I had to ask somebody for help. But that would have been a lot of financial cost. I had to ask somebody who could help me do it, and that's how the application finally got submitted. But it's been submitted twice. The first we lost the fee that we paid the first time round, And then I resubmitted it, and then I did get somebody to help me, but obviously there were still mistakes on that the application. And even with the shop sale, we had to pay somebody to do that because we didn't understand. I think I spoke to probably somebody here on the meeting, I don't remember, about how much issues I was having to do to actually take what's it called? Yeah, the application.
Okay, so that's I've heard what you said. I wonder, do you understand what is meant by a CIZ?
I have no idea.
Or the 4 licensing priorities?
I mean, no, I don't. I mean, I don't know what CIZ means, and whatever I've understood from the documentation is all we've understood. Like,
okay, no further questions from me, Chair.
Councillor Vaughan.
Yeah, let me take you back a little bit. In part of your representation, you stated that there would be no disturbance because all your customers ring up for their orders and you dispatch your orders on time. But yet we hear of people driving up to collect food from your restaurant. So what do you mean by that statement?
So I'm not sure if you're familiar with how the Uber Eats system or Just Eat system works, but what can happen is we can prepare the food for 11 and message the driver or alert the driver that the food is ready, but the driver himself does not show up for another 15 to 20 minutes. We have drivers that are coming in an hour late with the food's ready for collection, but they've not come to collect the food. They may be on another delivery. They may be stuck in traffic. I'm not sure, but they come to collect the food late, and therefore it then delays the whole process. And then obviously the review would come back to us that our food is cold, our food is not good, we're late delivery service. But matter of fact, we're trying to make the orders and get them ready on time. That's the driver. So for example, the time that you're talking about, when my husband said about Uber, the food was in the holding cabinet, the food was absolutely ready to go before the hours were supposed to close, but the driver himself turned out late. Now, if we refuse that driver in that moment in time to not take the food, and that put the shutters completely down, we would not get paid. The customer would ask for a refund. We would lose out on the food cost that we've put in to make the food. And therefore that order was then, was like done, basically.
You see, you said that no one will be hanging around. Okay, I understand what you just said, but by that inference, you mean that your dispatchers will be out all the time. But there must be a case whereas dispatchers haven't got any deliveries to make and waiting to collect deliveries. So there must be a time when that would happen.
I mean, are you talking about that one delivery driver that would have?
No, individual.
Sorry, Councillor Vaughan. We are not talking about one incident all the time here. We're trying to get a picture. This is what we do with every application that comes to members. So don't keep referring to one incident. This is about a general position, I think, Councillor Vaughan. I'm trying to be helpful.
That's quite right. Yeah, that's quite right. Yeah.
So would you like to repeat? Sorry, it's our meeting. Councillor Vaughan, would you like to repeat the question?
Yes. Okay. Based on what
be clear.
Yeah. Based on what the chair just said, the way you present it to us is that drivers or deliverers would have no reason to wait to collect deliveries, but there must be cases when that is the case, and that's what we're trying to get at. You will have drivers who are waiting to collect deliveries, so they must be waiting somewhere near to your outside the door.
Yeah, but I understood. I'm sorry. Before I understood what you said, and I think the other Neil Wilson chair, I didn't understand. I actually did understand what you said, and I wasn't talking about the one incident. I said, are you referring to the one driver that would be waiting outside the shop? That's what I was going to ask. I'm not talking about that one incident. If you're talking about that one driver that has come to collect the food and may be waiting, yes, that may happen. But again, that's just one driver who doing a job, waiting for the food. They, unless, I mean, what would be the cause of what? Why would they have any kind? Why would they be creating any kind of a noise? I don't understand.
Well, I'm not inferring that's the case. You know, we're just talking about drivers waiting to collect deliveries.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they can be waiting anywhere. They can be talking among themselves. I don't know. So I just want to get that point clarified.
Yeah, so it's just one driver. And yeah, that's all I can say, really. It's just one person.
Sometimes they might have to wait if the food is getting prepared, yes, outside the premises. But the market is really big and we've got cameras outside our shop.
All right. Well, let me take one more question on this. Again, in your representation, you said majority of dispatchers use electric vehicles. Listen to the word, the majority. So there must be a minority who are hanging around. Yes.
Right. Yeah, but
where would they be waiting?
Inside the market, right outside our shop.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. Yeah. Thank you very much.
One more quick question.
No, sorry, it's questions to you. You can't ask us questions. It's questions to you. You can come back in your summary if you feel you've forgotten anything. But I'd rather we've got other people who may want to ask you questions at this point, so I have to structure it. Sorry about that. Now, my question is, there is a reference from the police about people from our safeguarding teams, both here in Tower Hamlets, Waltham Forest, all over London, have been alerted. Predatory adults and gangs sometimes target young people using late night refreshment venues. This is nothing to do with the alcohol fueled incidents, because there might be a connection between the halal food and parts of our very diverse population. So they're coming, are they going to be, these young people, are they coming to the shop after hours? Because I'm still not clear on whether you're going to be open to just deliveries or whether members of the public can rock up.
We want to be open to member of the public and for delivery drivers. That was the application when I first applied for.
Are you aware of issues around sexual exploitation around late night refreshment venues then?
Yes, we are. However, we are a family-run business. It's either myself, my husband, that's in the shop. I have two daughters who are in and out of the shop during the daytime hours, and sexual exploitation. I mean, yeah, that's all I can say, really. We realize that there's an issue of sexual exploitation, but we've never had to experience any of that where we are, anyways.
Councillor Ruiz, anything on this particular one?
No. Sorry.
No. It's just that I'm going through, all the submissions so that we're, to help you frame your answers. Remember, we've talked about the Queen's house and public house close by. Are you Newham residents? Do you live in the borough?
Yes. Yes.
You are Newham residents.
I live about.
We don't need an address on a public thing, so don't give your address out because of GDPR. I want to protect your identity. But are you local to the area?
Live a minute away.
Right. Yeah. So you live in the Upton Park area. Yeah. So you are aware of issues around antisocial behaviour and violence.
Yes.
Yes.
You've already mentioned drug abuse as an issue. I've raised the one about sexual exploitation. In your experience, you said that you've got a demand for this food, but what we're trying to ascertain is about increasing the problems that are already there.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've now got Councillor who is in duplicate. She's on two screens. It's always good. It's always good to have more than one of us on two screens. You can have your mother's screen as well. Anyway, what we're saying is, you've got issues within the area. Yes, you've said that you've been there since 2019. When was the last time you've mentioned heroin? Shooting up thing. And we are local councillors, not in this area, but are in Newham for quite a lot of experience on this committee. Anything else that you would say that you've seen whilst you've been there since 2019?
No, that's my biggest issue as a Newham resident, as a mother, as a Queen's Market customer. I think that is my biggest issue within the market. Apart from that, the market is a very friendly, loving place because my husband's been there for so many years. He knows every single person in the market. He has a great relationship with everybody there. Our family, like we've got he's got great relationship with the market inspectors. He's himself,
Sorry, I'm confused. You said that you'd been in terms of Khan's Burgers Limited there since 2019. How long has your husband been associated with Queen's Market?
35.
So did you have a business before that was under a different name?
Yes, I used to run a market store.
Oh, right. Fair enough. I'll get you. Sorry, just for clarification. My last question before I hand over to the representatives of who's made representation is that have you ever trained your staff on issues around unaccompanied young people, or how to deal with people who may confuse and not see the sign halal but are alcohol fueled, who do lurk around, whether they're from Queen's Market, the Queen's, which is adjacent to Queen's Market, or to other pubs? Because people in the wee small hours, between the hours of 12 and 5, or after the 11 o'clock threshold that is in the Licensing Act, between 11 and 5, they may be the worse for wear with alcohol. Have you had any training, or have you yourselves trained your other staff on how to deal with these people? Sorry, these people. I mean, people who have been influenced under the influence of not just drugs, or drugs and or alcohol.
Basically, any of my staff won't be interacting with any customers anyway, because they're there to cook.
Right.
It's either myself or my partner who does the front of house,
and
which will be.
Although we don't have any training as such, we have grown up on the streets of Newham and London in general. So we have a great street awareness, if not anything else. In fact, that's probably the best thing that we do have is a street awareness, and we can spot the signs very early. And we have the skills within our own personality to be able to deal with a situation to spot a situation that could escalate and then deal with it, nip it in the bud. Basically, I believe myself and my husband are both capable of doing that, but no training as such.
You made reference. My last question, and then I'll hand over to the people who've made representations. My last question, you made a reference, I think more than once, to dyslexia of both of you. Who fills up your submissions to the websites that have been alluded to in these hearings?
My friend, family, like we'll have to.
So you didn't fill up these websites, for this is just -eat.co.uk with various times that have been amended, or to ubereats.com.
No, we always get help. We always have to get help for anything that's done online or.
But whoever did fill them up was under your instruction. Was that correct?
I mean, yes, we do.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. I will go then to police. Connell, questions, please. Any questions for the applicant?
Just a quick question. I believe reference was made to CCTV. Could the applicant confirm to the committee that they do have CCTV coverage at the front of their premises, and would that include the area where the motorcycles, bikes, or cars where the delivery drivers or riders would wait?
Yes.
Is that included in the CCTV?
Yes.
Right, thank you. Also, the last question, going on from what the chair was talking about, vulnerability. If a young person, male or female, was hanging around outside but not buying, what action would you take, or what action would you advise your staff to take if that were the case?
Can you just repeat yourself, please? Sorry.
If a young person, male or female, under 16 years of age, was hanging around the premises, but not buying, but perhaps trying to encourage someone to buy food on their behalf for them, and you thought that they were vulnerable and perhaps something bad could happen to them, what action would you take, and what action would you advise your staff to take?
Well, if I was really concerned, I would call the police, because that's what they're there for. So if I feel that there's any kind of a situation where somebody is vulnerable and I'm suspicious on anything, I would call the police.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Right. Ian from Environmental Health. Ian McConnell. Anything?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just a couple of questions. You mentioned about your extract system, that you'd recently had it cleaned. How often do you have that cleaned?
Every 6 months.
Every 6 months. And what sort of filtration has the extract system got?
It's got it's a canopy.
Yeah.
The canopy, and I don't understand what you mean by that.
Has it got any other filtration other than the grease filters in the canopy?
It's got the grease filters, and it's got, what else is it? It's got a safety interlock system in it that secures. No, that's the only one. The Henny Penny and Fryer, it has a normal filter, which we filter every night and put the oil back. But the heavy duty cleaning, we clean it ourselves.
But our exhaust, it doesn't make any noise.
There is no other machine. That is the only canopy extractor. There's only one sort.
Okay, that's fine. No more questions, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. From the licensing authority, any questions, John?
Yeah, just one question. I know we've laboured on the point.
Sorry, John, you need to come a bit nearer the microphone. You keep going a bit soft on us. Softly spoken.
Regarding trading after 11 o'clock, and obviously with the websites and that, you said that there was obviously possibly a breakdown in communication when I phoned and spoke to your employee when he said that you're open till 2:30 in the morning, and your husband stated to members that dead on 11 o'clock the shutters come down, but sort of some of the delivery drivers could arrive between 15-20 minutes later after you've closed. But can you explain to members, A, why you've been trading after 11 o'clock, and B, why on the Just Eat and the Uber websites it still shows that you're able to pick up deliveries at midnight and 1 o'clock in the morning?
Like I said, is because we're getting other people. Like I don't even know how to use, like, on a Google map, I don't know how to load up Street View. I won't know how to think. Neither does my partner. So we have to ask people for help. That process can take quite a long time for it to for it to actually go through. It's probably taken longer. We know that since we received the notice, we've stopped trading. The after hours situation that has happened has only been because of a late order. Otherwise, we don't take any orders after we're supposed to take. And then my staff saying 2:30 because we open around that time. I think there has been a major miscommunication or understanding on my staff's part and yourself, because yeah, that's the only explanation. Like I said, I don't know. Like, I don't know. We don't know how to even operate it properly. I know we're responsible for it, but because we know the customer won't actually be able to place the order anyways. So once our machine, like, although it says on Google or Just Eat or Uber, wherever you said that it says, they can't place an order. It will come up. If you had attempted to place the order, it would have probably said unavailable because the machines then would be off. So it's just a technical error on the actual print, but you won't actually be able to physically place the order after 11.
John, anything further?
No, that's it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Now, Umar, I think we've reached the point I'm looking to you for guidance, that we can have the summing up.
Yes, Chair.
Now, this is the point where the applicant or yourself as a partner of the applicant, we're under our procedures as outlined on page 5 of the bundle, you can make brief closing remarks. So don't say everything all over again. We've got the gist, we've heard what's been said. So just why you want this license, basically, after 11 o'clock.
The reason we want this license after 11 o'clock is because we know that business is good. We're a family-run business who have responsibilities, and we know that's the best time to trade. We order out all the time after them hours. We know the demand for it, hence why we want to open at those hours. It's purely for financial reasons. There's no other gain for us to open that late. We do want to come home and go to bed as well, but we're working really hard, as you can probably tell. And that's all it is, basically. We just want to work and make more money. That's all.
Thank you very much. Now, the next part of the procedures is outlined on the guidelines for the procedures on page 5 of the main pack, agenda item 2. We're now going to pass a resolution to deliberate in private. That's where we discuss things that have been in the bundle and what we've heard. But if we were in the town hall in a physical meeting, we'd ask you to go out. But what we do is we go into different rooms. But the technology, I'm not good with. So basically, don't do anything till you've heard from the Zoom clerk. We're going off to deliberate. The only people who are allowed with the councillors are our legal representative, because we have to judge everything under the purview of the Licensing Act 2003. And we have the clerk who's obviously taken all the notes on what's been said. So can we go to the Zoom clerk for instructions, please?
Thank you, Chair. Shortly, I will send an invitation to all of the parties to enter a private area where you won't be on camera, you won't be seen or heard. You don't have to join that room, but if you don't, could I ask you to keep your cameras switched off and your sound muted while the subcommittee are in deliberations? Once they have completed their deliberations, I'll send an invitation to return to the main meeting, and also there will be a holding card during the deliberations so that the live stream can reflect that.
Thank you very much. Is everybody clear then? And then we'll get this button. Don't do anything till you get that central button, because I do that and you come completely off the call again. So wait for these rooms to pop up.
The invitation's just been sent.
Thank you very much, Antonella. Thank you.
Sorry, do I join this room?
Yes, please, if you would. It's a private area for you. And then we'll call you back when the meeting resumes. So if you just accept the invitation. Councillor Rose, are you okay?
No, I haven't received an invitation.
Oh, it's because you rejoined the meeting.
I know, sorry.
There you go. There should be something now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience, everybody. We have been in deliberation. We're just waiting for the reassembling of everybody who's been involved on the call today. I hope everybody can hear me all right. Is it Connell? Yeah. We are awaiting the applicant to rejoin us. And Nisha, can you hear me all right? Have we got connection with
Yes,
the Zoom
Chair.
part?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Has Antonella lost the applicant? Have we lost
Just
the
sending a message to the applicant, Chair.
Right.
They've rejoined us. Everybody's present now.
Just doing a sound check. Can you hear me all right, applicants? Can you hear me? Thank you very much. Okay, so I've just said thank you to everybody for their patience who's been watching live, and we do have some people watching live, I can see on the YouTube channel. Thank you for your patience. We can't predetermine anything. What we do is we go on what's been said as well as what's been written, how people have answered questions, etc. So we have reached a decision, and I'll ask the clerk to read it out, please.
Thank you, Chair. Having heard all submissions, the subcommittee have decided to refuse the application. A full written decision with reasons will be provided with the aim of it reaching the parties within 5 working days.
And it just remains for me to say that the applicant and the responsible authorities may appeal against our decision to the Magistrates' Court within a period of 21 days. And thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for your cooperation. We've had internet problems, we've had sound problems, but you've handled this very well. Thanks for the way you've conducted yourselves throughout. And thank you very much again. I declare meeting closed. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.